Organizing things by color is a very much enjoyed pastime of mine. Pinterest boards, apps in my phone, clothing, and I also enjoy photography, though I don't do it as often as I feel I should, and thus the birth of this video. I've attempted this once before, it didn't work out. You never saw that because I don't show you failed projects. Also, sorry it's been a month since my last video. That's wacky, whoops, my bad. This took longer to film than anticipated. But quick, look, distraction. The red photo shoot, let's get started. Something I like to do when I'm stuck in photo shoots is create kind of a list of things that remind me of whatever I'm trying to go for. So in this case, red, I'd say like strawberries, which makes sense. Tomatoes, another fruit, arguably. Elmo, don't know if that's really helpful. Redstone, I just want to play Minecraft. Your dad's face when I walk into the room. Lipstick, let's go with lipstick. When I get stuck on ideas for self-portraits and general fashion photography stuff, I like to think, what am I selling? Because with fashion photography, a lot of the time you're actually trying to sell something. And so in this case, that would be lipstick. Hello. Sorry, let me get that out of the way for you. Telling a story with photo shoots is really important to me. I think the story for this one is gonna be, I just finished making out with your dad. Okay. But I really want to channel rage, romance, erectile dysfunction. Sorry. I was naming our words, okay? What's wrong with my brain? It's not even right. It's erectile, not whatever. It's fine. What the fuck was I talking about? Railing your dad is another good R word. Is this my favorite shoot? No. Is it a bad shoot? No. Red's not really my color, so I feel like I'm whatever the opposite of bias is towards it. Here's the first shot I got, here's the last shot I got, and here are the shots I ended up editing. Here's the before and after. I didn't do too much. Bit of cropping, really just contrast, saturation, and that's basically it. This was also one of the first shoots I did, and I feel like I frankly have learned quite a bit from this experience, this project. Kind of planned stuff a little bit less and just kind of went with it. Not to say I completely go in with no plan. There's always like a shot in my head that I want to get, and usually I get it, not always. But then I also go for like other stuff just in the moment. I feel like a great example of that is the orange photo shoot, which is next. Segue. Orange. Aren't you glad I fucked your dad? God, I'm sorry. You don't deserve this. And I did make this from an old dress that didn't fit me anymore. For this one, I went in more of that aesthetic direction, kind of focusing on a more faded, golden hour kind of vibe, except for this one photo, which I'm here for. But it's definitely the outlier of the finished photos. Once again, I used orange gels in front of my light, which I just looked straight into again. I miss LA. Is the conclusion to this shoot. I don't know, something about the sun and on the skin is nice, except it's not the real sun in these photos. It's my fake light sun that I just looked into again. Every time I do that, I like am blind for a second. Moving on. I'm slowly damaging my retinas. Yellow. I think my favorite shot from this entire thing came from yellow. This one with the water drop. For the most part, I went for a more vintage edit on these. This was actually a shoot I had been planning to do for a while, but never got around to it. I also kind of used gold more than yellow. A bit of a cheat there, but I hung fabric above me, like kind of on my ceiling so that in the reflection there'd be yellow rather than popcorn ceiling, because that disgusts me and I hate it. I think the vintage adds to it rather than trying to make it look all shiny and new and pretty. Here's the first shot, here's the last shot, and here are all the shots I ended up editing. Pomp. Green's my favorite color, so I have a lot of fabrics and clothing items that are green, and I just kind of slap those up in the background with no real rhyme or reason other than this little panel that I left blank without any green fabric and just the white wall, so as to use that as framing. There's a couple of close-ups that I thought were nice. This is definitely more of a stereotypical fashion photo shoot, but I don't mind that, keeping it, some variety in each one. It adds variety. You can't really tell, but I did also put tiny pearls in my hair that I glued onto some bobby pins. I also added hints of gold jewelry and such in the background. Okay, I guess it's worth mentioning at this point that you're going to be seeing a lot of repeating things in these shoots, which is kind of an Easter egg, kind of. I have limited stuff, so you're going to see repeats. For this one, I'm selling the highlight. I also had wet hair for this shoot because I was like a water blue. Here's the first shot, here's the last shot. I really like the dreaminess of some of the shots where a tulle is covering my face and my face is kind of out of focus, but you can still get glimpses of the highlight. I'm not really big on makeup. I'm not currently wearing makeup. I don't wear makeup in my day-to-day life, mostly because it makes me dysphoric. But in terms of, I guess, characters, and when it's not me, but more character I'm acting as or modeling as or whatever, it's like cool. I guess I'm not that worried about it because it's not me presenting as me, it's me presenting as somebody else. Oh yeah, I'm genderqueer. That's hence the dysphoria. In terms of editing for this one, I did a lot of highlights and whites to exaggerate those, as well as a good bit of saturation, just because I was working with pretty much white tulle with a bit of glitter and blue light shined on it. But I think they turned out alright. I'm gonna take the set down now. Number 15, glitter. Glitter is said to get stuck in your ass for centuries. I personally will be finding it everywhere, forever. Moving on. Moving to purple. Moving on. Purple, I struggled with. Okay, hi. Excuse the everything about me. I've been sitting on this one photo shoot for like 4 or 5 days now. Purple just isn't my shit, alright? I don't fuck with purple very often. I have all this purple shit and I've been staring at it like, what the fuck do? I don't know. I think I have an idea that I'm kind of fucking with a little bit. But I'm gonna have to get back to you on that because I've thought that like 5 times now. And I just don't wear purple. I don't think it suits me necessarily, but in terms of how much I struggled with it and the outcome, I think I'm pretty happy with it. I like the dress though. The dress is pretty cute. Here's the first shot I got. Here's the last shot I got. For both orange and purple, I ended up getting a couple things from the thrift store just because I didn't own any orange or purple. And for the orange one, I didn't even end up using the stuff that I had gotten from a thrift store. I ended up flipping a dress that I had. But this was a couple of pillowcases. Moving on to pink, I suppose. I ended up doing another mirror thing, but this time using a circle mirror that I had gotten ages ago that at some point broke in half, but I just kind of kept it because I was like, oh, that's cool, I'll use that for photography, and here I am using it for photography. I also took some of my plant jars and I filled them with clean water with just a tiny bit of pink food coloring, and then I put my light behind it so that it would create a cool effect, basically. My god, I just looked straight into the fucking light again. For like a second too, I paused. I was like, let me really soak this in for a moment. What is it that my mind finds bright light so fascinating? I don't find this amusing. It's painful, and yet I do it to myself. And if you haven't put it together yet, I'm doing more than just the rainbow. I'm doing other colors because 1, there are more colors than the rainbow, and 2, pride flag. Duh. Moving on. For brown, the first thing that comes to mind for me is like very natural faces, pretty clean photos in terms of kind of the maximalist vibes that I kind of go for in a lot of my photos. Brown and neutral tones could work with that, but I don't have enough brown to do that. So I went a bit simpler, heavily relying on facial expressions and also my hair. In this case, if I were to sell something, it'd be like a hair product. I used lighting that was very balanced. To do this, I took my big light that I keep looking into and a couple of sketchbooks with blank white pages and set it up so that it was facing the sketchbook, which was facing away from me, so that the light would bounce off. And let me tell you, good lighting, that's good shit. That is good shit, for lack of a better way to describe it. Emulated certain characters that I either made up or took from stuff. For example, the Rapunzel, also Castiel. I don't know what it is about this expression and this pose and the button up, but it just screams, I need to stop. I'm not over it. And if you know, you know, but I'm struggling. I finished that show recently. It's not important. It's not important. Moving on. I will forever get gender envy from Misha Collins. Besides the point, though. Anyways, here's the first shot. Here's the last shot. Done. Moving on to the last photo shoot, which is black and white. For the last one, I wasn't really feeling it. I was at a point where I was really tired of doing photo shoots, really wanted to be done with it. I also just physically wasn't feeling well, I think, the day I did this, so there's that, and I think it kind of shows in the photos. They're kind of meh, they're alright. It's very much emulating the vibe of old rich wife, but like her husband just died and she's really sad about it, but she also like definitely killed her husband. This specific shot I really like because it looks like my eyes are completely blacked out. Don't know what happened there, but it looks cool. I also got this one shot that really does emulate the whole ghost vibe. Here's the first photo, here's the last photo. Better shots that I feel like I got. And yeah, I'd say that about wraps up that and all the photos done. I honestly am shocked I finished this. I still have to edit the video, but all the photos are edited. They're ready to post. I don't know if people like this one. I had an idea to do kind of a similar idea, but instead of doing one color for each one, I'd do like 2 or 3 colors for each photo, and then do like color theory kind of stuff, because that sounds fun and interesting and like a cool study. Here's another video to watch. It'll probably be goofier and a little faster paced than this one, also probably shorter than this one. I'm not sure how long this will be. I don't like being more serious on my YouTube usually. So in terms of the queer experience and where I'm at with that, I'd rather not get super into it. Other than I am queer and I have an experience, and currently that experience isn't great. The more these laws and such get passed, the more I, and a lot of people I imagine, feel kind of isolated, and that's obviously not a great feeling. And I've kind of put my, I guess, identity to like the side of my YouTube channel. I mention it every now and then when it can be a meme or whatever, when I can joke about it. But there are definitely people, like the people I stream with, I'm not out to them kind of thing. And they may see this and it's like, whatever, that's fine. It is what it is. I think what's important to remember if you're on the side of politics, I guess, that tends to believe, you know, LGBTQ plus people should be anything other than equal, really. Or if you believe they currently are equal or treated equally, I'd probably say we all have dreams and shit we want to do. And that doesn't stop being the case just because you disagree with someone. And I think it's probably very easy to look at these laws and be like, oh, that doesn't affect their life that much. It's fine. You know, like trans people not being allowed to participate in the gendered sport that they prefer kind of thing, or not being able to use the right bathroom. Regardless, I guess my point is it's hard to see a future when your plans for the future are illegal. For example, marriage that obviously wasn't legal at one point and it looks like could easily be made illegal again. Another example is adoption. I want to adopt at some point, but I may not be able to legally, or just because the people at the adoption center don't like me. And so when those plans for the future, the things that people are almost expected to have plans for, marriage, kids, when that becomes illegal, what else is there? What do you see in the future? The answer is you don't see a future. It's a similar thing with representation. That's why representation in the media is so important, because you see people who have grown up and have a future. You see that it's an option. It's still possible for you. Please treat people like they have a future. Not to say I don't think I'll have a future. Like I have plans, you know, but they're not normal per se. It's a lot of projects that I want to do, really big projects that I know will take a very long time to complete. It's not like, oh, I expect to live in this kind of house, in this kind of neighborhood, or with a really nice, well-paying job, or surrounded by friends and family. Those things would be nice, I suppose, but it's almost implied that queer people don't get to have that. Sometimes it's implied that way. And if you're queer, hey, how's it going? If you're queer, you have a future. You will have a future. As long as you keep going, like even if you're having a rough time right now, you'll find a future, a good one. It might take a bit of work, but it is out there. It is an option regardless of what is implied or told to people or made legal or illegal. There'll be people out there that you'll meet that will be your future in a sense. And there's a lot you can achieve. You have a future. You have choices for your future. You don't have to conform. And if you feel like you do, fair enough. Sometimes that is the safer option, unfortunately. But you'll find people who you won't have to hide around. I'm maybe not the best person to be giving advice on that kind of thing. Let's just say I've lost more friends from being queer than gained. But regardless of that, there are people who support me. There are people who support you. There will always be people who support you. No matter how bad it gets. And yeah, love yourself. Drink water. Eat a nice meal. Shower if you haven't in a while. Which, respect, honestly. Treat others with kindness. Make art. Do stupid shit. But not too stupid. Long outro. Over. Goodbye.